The recent floods have not only caused major damage in and around Durban, but have also dealt a blow to the tourism industry in the province. The Easter weekend is known to attract people from all over the country and the world alike. Many tourists were forced to cancel bookings and plans, given the devastation brought about by the floods. Head of Durban Tourism, Sithole, joins me now to tell us more about the situation. Mr. Sithole, thank you very much for your time this evening. Given the situation in KZN and the severity, we've lost 400, just short of 400 people. Many more are still missing. Infrastructure has been damaged. There's limited access to water and electricity. Does some part of you think that perhaps it's a good idea that there weren't as many people in the area when these floods hit?
Well, it is a situation that is very bad for Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, and it must be remembered that it is happening after two disasters that have taken place, which is COVID, as well as the July unrest last year. So I can say in the space of 18 months, our economy has been backing, and now these floods. So the tourism sector has been affected severely. We have seen the number of bookings going down from about 80% to around 40%. And I must say that we are lucky that we have a number that is averaging around 40% because of the poor state of affairs in the city.
Of course, it's always a very difficult balance between the economic impact and keeping lives safe. You've said about 40% of bookings have dropped to about 40%. Can you tell us about accessibility? Has that played a big role in terms of the numbers of people still heading down where roads and highways have been damaged so severely that people weren't able to access holiday hotspots?
Well, I think first and foremost, we need to understand that we are a coastal city, and the majority of people who come to Durban during high seasons, they'll be here because of the fact that we are a coastal city. So they come as families to come and enjoy the beach and other facilities. So because of these floods, our beach was closed, and it continues to be closed, I think, for a few weeks to come. And other areas of entertainment like Ushaga Marine and others are also closed. So these are the main attractions of Durban. And then when it comes to infrastructure, it has been all over the news. That our infrastructure has been severely damaged. Some of the highways, some of the major routes within Durban. So that, in a way, it did make a statement to people to say that you mustn't go to Durban because of the inaccessibility to some of the tourism spots. So yes, indeed, that did affect us. But we hope that in no time we will bounce back. We have bounced back during COVID, and we have bounced back after the July unrest, and we hope that we will bounce back in a few weeks' time. Plans are in place, teams are out, they are working 24 hours a day to deal with the infrastructural problems.
Talking about that recovery process, do you know of any major landmarks or tourism hotspots that have been damaged by the flooding? Well,
the major hotspot, the major attraction that has been damaged, it's the beachfront, not necessarily damaged, but it is full of water. That is not good for people to come and swim here. So that creates a problem because we know that the beach is one of our main attractions. So that's the main attraction that has been affected. Another main attraction is Ushaga Marine, which has been affected, but we're hoping that the Ushaga Marine situation will be dealt with as soon as possible. We should be back on track maybe within a week in as far as Shire Marine is concerned. But in terms of other attractions within the city, they were not necessarily affected. I know that in an area like Umdloti, there's an issue about accessibility, and we have a lot of tourism facilities there. But again, there is work that is being done by government and private sector to make sure that there is accessibility. I know that on Friday and I think on Thursday and Friday, there were teams of engineers that were trying to make sure that there is another access route created through developers that are already on site.
In terms of recovery, one of the major things that needs to happen is for people to return to Durban, to all of the KZN tourism hotspots, to try and recoup some of those losses. In terms of predictions, not only of the weather clearing and infrastructure repairs, but also in terms of conditions favourable to reopening the beaches, how long do you think that's going to take?
Well, in terms of the beach, in the last 3 days, there have been a serious cleanup by members of the public, and we must compliment our people for having gone out to clean the beach on their own. They were doing this with NGOs and also working with businesses along the beachfront, including eThekwini municipality workers. So I think maybe that mop-up will take us another week or so. And I think by the end of this month, we should be back in business in terms of tourism. I'm saying this because the majority of areas which are tourist attractions were not badly affected. It is in the main areas along the coast that were affected. I mean, other than that, other areas like our shopping malls, areas of entertainment, people who are here for shopping leisure, those areas were not affected. And most of the hotels are in operation. They were not affected. They were only affected by the shortage of water and electricity. But in terms of electricity, that has been sorted out. And the water department, working with Umgeni Water, they are working around the clock to make sure that the aqueduct is brought back, and we are able to get water to most part of the city. So we hope that if everything goes according to plan, before the end of this month, most of the tourism routes should be open. So in terms of the long weekend, April to May to beginning of May, we should be at least at 80% back to business.
Well, we're wishing you a strong and speedy recovery in KZN, especially for the tourism sector. Thank you very much for your time. That was Philip Sithole, Head of Durban Tourism.